And finally, in the programme, rapid economic growth is seeing rising incomes and consumption, with more Russians gaining access to loans. However, only a small percentage of people know how to make informed decisions when dealing with bank services, as Marina Jashi reports.
The increasing availability of easy credit is a shortcut to consumer dreams for some, but it's turning into a Pandora's box for others.
5 years ago, I borrowed 30,000 rubles from a bank that didn't tell me how much I had to pay monthly. I could only pay 1,500 rubles a month. 3 years later, it turned out that my debt rose to 80,000 rubles, and what I had been paying for was just different bank fees. I only finished paying off my debt this August.
A lack of disclosure by some banks and general distrust in the banking system have made it difficult for banks to reach out to consumers.
The banks have to be responsible lenders, so they have to actually make sure that they, explain their products, they're transparent on the terms and conditions, get the customer to understand the commitment that they're entering into. If the banks meet that responsibility, then the second key area of responsibility is on the borrowers themselves. We call it responsible borrowing. Do not take out a loan if you do not believe you're going to be able to repay it. Don't rely on what you think might happen in the future and that having to happen in order for you to actually meet your commitments. And, that's something that I think people will have to get used to.
With retail banking still evolving, a big challenge for most banks is getting the customer to understand what financial products are available and how they actually work, as many Russians still have little experience of them.
I only use cash cards. I don't have reserve accounts. I'm an economist, but my education didn't give me enough knowledge.
I don't know very much about bank products. I'm not very interested as such.
Industry figures show that 39% of Russians don't use bank services at all. Only 25% have bank accounts, and as little as 10% have bank cards. The market is gradually beginning to embrace Western transparency and disclosure standards.
With the issue recently becoming the focus of public attention, the Central Bank of Russia now requires all banks to provide borrowers with an explanation of the effective annual percentage rates, including all embedded fees.
Some companies are trying to address the information needs of consumers by providing free consultancy services in shopping centers. The need in regional Russia is particularly acute.
We offer free financial and legal consultancy that should stimulate financial activity of our population. We would like to be present not only in Moscow but also in the regions, because people there are not exposed to bank services and many don't know how to use bank products and make informed decisions.
As credit becomes more common, the role of banks is changing. And it's not just a matter of giving out money, it's about focusing on customer needs for the benefit of both the customer and the banks. Marina Jashi, Russia Today, Moscow.